What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Sheep Asleep. I'm your host, Brian.
And I am Bill. Also, I'd like to give a quick prayer and let everybody know that we're Christians, and thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to reach out to people. Go ahead.
This episode is going to be kind of different. Well, maybe, not really. We're going to talk about things that go bump in the night, ghost stories, Bigfoot sightings, aliens, what have you.
I'd like to start off by talking about things here in Kentucky where we live. The things here in Kentucky, let's talk about a place, Brian, called Waverly Hills Sanitarium.
It is arguably the most haunted place in America, if not the world.
Yes, a little bit about Waverly Hills Sanitarium.
For those who don't know.
Exactly. It's here in Louisville, Kentucky, Jefferson County. It's at 4400 Paralee Drive. And from 1910 to 1961, this hospital had a ward for tuberculosis.
The whole thing was for TB patients, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Not just a ward, the whole hospital.
Yes, the whole hospital. The hospital was known as the pandemic. Speaking of which, the pandemic was known as the White Plague.
Tuberculosis.
And
They say Doc Holliday had that TB.
yeah, I've seen that as a movie thing.
Yep.
They played in Tombstone with it. I like to let everybody know that there was a medication given, but before the medication was there, lots of people died. And
Streptomycin.
was the name of the medication.
It's an antibiotic, kin to penicillin.
Okay, now here's a big one. Brian, take a guess, my friend. How many people died between 1910 and 1961?
Spitballing, I'd say 100,000.
Very close. It was 63,000 died.
In 50 years from tuberculosis.
Yes. And the head doctor was James J. Get this last name, Gaffney. Don't you have a podcast calling Gaffney with Gaffney Sticks?
Yeah. Gaff, not Gabb. Yeah. Oh hell.
Yeah.
Gaffney.
Yeah.
Okay.
James J. Gaffney was the head doctor there, and he founded it. He got everything going, and now that's just the history of it. Now let's get into what goes bump in the night. Here we had for the longest time tours through Waverly Hills, and these tours were ghost tours. They even had the Ghostbuster type people there. What was the name of that show, Brian?
Ghost Adventures was there, and so were the Paranormal Research TV show.
Yes, and
The PRN.
I even believe there was a group, or not a group, a movie cast studio. What was they called? Supernatural. Supernatural with the Winchester brothers.
Ghost Faces.
Yes. Winchester, Dean and Sam Winchester. Give a good shout out to them. I think their final episode was tonight, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, they was at Waverly Hills doing a on-set, of course, movie for their show, and they used Waverly Hills building.
Yep.
And we've done tours, and there's been ghost sightings there.
Well, let's
And-
talk about some of the different ghost sightings.
Okay, real quick, the tour, people going through this tour, I had a friend named Holly, she took it. And somebody had one of those ghost meters, and Holly was pregnant at the time.
Uh-oh.
And the ghost came at her trying to touch the baby, and the ghost meter picked it up and showed an aura,
Huh.
a shape around her pregnancy.
Wow.
How's that for spooky?
Yeah, that is spooky.
But yeah, there's been a lot of ghost sightings, and people's even challenged people to spend the night there. So what was you gonna say, sir?
Oh, about the ghost stories. So, like all good ghost stories, you can't have one without a murder or two. Supposedly, a nurse was raped and impregnated by one of the patients there, and supposedly she hung herself in her room after finding she was pregnant. There's also the story of...
That kind of sounds like Freddy Krueger, doesn't it?
Yeah. Also the story of the little boy Timmy and a red ball apparently on the second floor. You can bring any kind of object, and if you talk to the spirit of Timmy, apparently it'll play with you and move the object across the floor.
Did not know that.
I'm trying to think. There was one other. Oh, and of course the infamous body shoot. There were people dropping at such a dramatic rate that they built an underground passage leading away from the grounds for the disposal of the corpses.
Didn't they make a movie called The Tunnel that was based loosely off of that?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I think so. I think there's a movie called The Tunnel, and it was based loosely off of the chute and the corridor in Waverly Hills.
And in that body shoot, apparently there's been rumors of shadow people, maybe demons. Who knows, so many people lost their lives and their bodies passed through that tunnel because they didn't want to let the living patients witness the bodies being moved, and they were dying at such a dramatic rate that they felt the need for this.
Yes. So what we're going to be talking about is basically, like we just did, ghost, Bigfoot story, and an alien versus farmer story. So it's just basically, like you said, Bump in the Night is a good intro title for this tonight. The only thing I know about Waverly, personally, I've been there one time. I don't know much. I never went inside. I stayed outside. They had a festival outside, and I took a friend there because he was playing in a rock band, and they had some rock music and a festival outside of the place. And I believe they're selling it and going to turn it into a hotel.
That'll be interesting.
And that's my only. Will you have any personal experience with it?
No, you couldn't pay me to go up there.
Okay,
But
move it.
yeah, if you look online, Waverly Hills Sanitarium, however you want to pronounce it, Louisville, Kentucky, you will find endless ghost stories online.
Okay, let's talk about Bigfoot. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, is a Canadian and American ape-like creature. Now, I learned only a little bit about this creature from the Gimli Patterson film of 1967. When I seen that film, it kind of made me go, Now, I never disbelieved it, but I didn't know how much strong faith to get into it, to pursue it or believe it.
Now, is that the one where it's like far away and the Bigfoot's scrolling?
That's it.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Yeah, black and white.
Now, there was something interesting about that Gimli
Patterson
thing. There was a gentleman who studied it, and he believes it's real because he was trying to disclaim it at first, that it's fake. There's no truth about it. And what happened was he did all his points to, like, if it falls in this category at any time, it's fake. So he was on the verge of saying he can't prove that it's real. Then there was something that sparked and said, uh-oh, check this out. Well, excuse me, he did all the measurements, and what led him to believe it's authentic is the fact that the creature had breasts. It was female. And you don't buy bear suits or gorilla suits with breasts.
No.
You just, don't. Also,
and this was in the 60s, so
yeah.
you really couldn't blame special effects or makeup.
Now, he said that when the creature's arms and legs, moved, he said, look here at the sides and down by the thigh.
Now, you can actually see the body twisting as he walks.
Right. But what he was getting at, is the hand of the creature was cuffed. And as it swung down, the claw of the thumb scraped the thigh.
Huh.
And knocked the fur off the leg.
Wow.
That shows wear. If it was a brand new costume, it wouldn't have that kind of wear.
No.
And the side where the forearm hit the love handle side of the creature, that spot was wore out from the forearm hitting. And he goes, these marks are put there over time.
Yeah.
And so that led him to believe this is a legit film. This is a legit sighting.
Yep.
And the fact that how it walked with its knees forward and how much thigh-shin ratio, he went over it pretty good.
And its gait was pretty good too. I mean, as far as stride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one little story, and this is to keeping with the Kentucky theme. We have a place called Fort Knox, Kentucky. It's rumored to have a lot of gold there, and it is a military base.
Supposed to be home to the nation's gold reserves, but a lot of people think that it was moved. But, who knows? Because, of course, you can't go in. They did have one opening to a public audit once in the 50s, where they opened the vault doors and let members of the press come in and see all the gold that was stacked from floor to ceiling. But since then, there hadn't been a soul outside of the government in there.
Now, Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Home of the Armored Division, isn't it?
Yes,
Tank
it
Division.
is. Yep. On August 1989, a group of military men were on a destroying marijuana mission because it grows up like wildfire here in Kentucky, and it's extremely easy to plant. You just throw the seeds on the ground and this soil will suck it up and sprout up a 6 to 8 foot marijuana plant. So Fort Knox, this took place 6 miles out of Fort Knox. There's a lot of land around Fort Knox, thousands and thousands of acres. So they was out destroying marijuana one day, and they had a helicopter to scout out marijuana crops. Well, the helicopter pilot seen something, radioed to the 113 that was out destroying thing. It's like a man tank that runs over stuff. but it has a gunner on it. Now, in August 1989, there was a encounter while the helicopter seen a group of large bodies. So the gentleman in the 113 went there. Well, when they got there,
Yeah, the Bernheim Forest is right there. Maybe that's what they were referring to.
could be. This, there was a group, a family of Bigfoot, Sasquatches, whatever you want to call them. There was a father, a mother, and 3 kids. Well, one of the little Sasquatches got away. Well, the mother was trapped in like a bear trap or a hunting trap, and the dad was trying to, the Bigfoot father, dad, was trying to break her free. But when the 113 rolled up on it, caught the dad's attention, he bull trucked towards it quick. Well, according to the gentleman, the 113 is about an 8-foot tall vehicle. The dad was about a head taller than the vehicle. So he was above 8 foot, pushing 9 foot tall. Big, massive creature. He went from about 18 yards or feet, I'm not for sure, I forgot which one, but 18 distance away, and they killed the creature at 6 foot from the tank. They dropped him. And they personally put, throughout the whole family, over 100 rounds. 4 magazines went out to these Bigfoot creatures. The gunner took out 2 of the kids, half of the mom. The other partner took out half the mom, and this one dude by himself took out the Bigfoot father, or dad. It was fully auto magazines. Everything was fully auto. They just lit them up fully auto. So picture a 30 round magazine, fully auto. It's about 10 seconds, folks. And this Bigfoot creature went the distance from 18 feet to 6 feet, eating the bullets. This gentleman said that this Bigfoot creature was eating these bullets like nothing, and that the dust and debris were flying off of the Bigfoot creature. And then he fell to the ground. And the mother seemed to be half dead, and the 2 children were killed completely. These Bigfoot family was pretty much wiped out. And the reason why this guy's telling this is, yeah, they debriefed them, made them sign paperwork, but this gentleman had stage 4 cancer. He was dying. This was a deathbed confession. Well, he talked about the sergeant coming on. A sergeant got there with his little crew, and the sergeant sent them away to get debriefed, declothed, showered, new clothes, the whole thing, get vaccination shots. Well, this gentleman noticed that the sergeant took a .45 caliber handgun. He took out his magazines, and each creature got a full magazine in its head for a confirmed kill. Pretty wild and fascinating, wasn't it? And this happened about 4:00 p.m. in the afternoon. And out of the 3 gentlemen that laid waste to the Bigfoot family, one of them became an alcoholic. It was a very life-changing experience to meet these creatures. And a lot of people who've met them, this has changed their life completely. But yeah, and so that's pretty much the story I got off this. That's as far as I went with it. Do you have anything, sir?
No, only Apparently that wasn't the only family sighting of Bigfoots. I just Googled Bigfoot Fort Knox, Kentucky. Apparently on ghostandmonsters.com there's a story of a volunteer firefighter who was called, and this was published, this article was published this year, but said 15 years ago, so 2005, that he was called by the Fort Knox Army Department to tell the volunteer fire department that there was a fire heading north. And they were in a 4x4. When they came around a bend, it was smoky, but they saw in the middle of the road, looking towards us, about 150, 200 foot away, a medium-sized creature step out of the tree line with two smaller ones, with a male that was about 7-8 feet tall. The medium size was definitely female due to the way that it acted with the little ones. And they were 6.5 foot tall, and the small ones were skinny at about 5-6 feet tall. So I don't know. It's, if you believe in Bigfoot or not, that's, you know, you have multiple sightings of Sasquatch. I'm still on the fence about the creatures myself, but I do believe that every story's got a truth behind it.
Yes, I like to camp and go out in the woods. I have never seen a Bigfoot, nor do I want to.
No.
It's spooky enough to run into a pack of wolves or a grizzly bear or a black bear.
You're talking a primeval fear right there.
Yeah, that's bad enough. Okay, for the remainder of the time, I want to talk about a little incident, keeping with the Kentucky theme. There was a bunch of, aliens. Let's talk about aliens.
There you go.
Aliens in Kelly, Kentucky. Kelly, Kentucky is a little city inside of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. It's near it. Okay, so Kelly, Kentucky, near Hopkinsville, Kentucky, on August 22nd, 1955, in the farmhouse of these people, I do not know their names, there was a night raid. There was an alien spaceship that landed. 12 to 15 little green men, as they were called back then, descended on this farmhouse. And there was a lot of issues that went on. An encounter happened where bullets fight happened to the visitors. There was a bunch of bullets shot at the visitors. The farmhouse was trying to defend itself, the family there. And from what I gathered, according to them, there was 5 adults and 7 children, the farmers, human versus aliens, in a gunfight. I don't know how the aliens fought back. It really didn't describe that part, but it described that the farmers who were defending their property was a 4-hour gunfight.
Damn.
And I know that this movie, it happened, August 22nd, 1955 is when it happened. This inspired the movie with Steven Spielberg of E.T.
Huh.
Yes. Why? I do not know. Because E.T. was nothing like what this was. And
Maybe it was because it involved the Greys.
probably. Now, they took one of their farmers to the hospital, had the sheriff meet them there, and the story was told at the hospital of the
Intense firefight for
intense
4
firefight.
hours.
And when the farmer, with the police and sheriffs went back to the house, they seen the barn house and the front door and the front windows of the houses all riddled with bullet holes. So about 1,000 rounds were shot within 4 hours, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of rounds. And that's Kelly, Kentucky, and they have an annual event now.
Huh.
Yes. And you can Google annual event, Kelly, Kentucky, or Hopkinsville, Kentucky, alien sighting. And this festival is due to this incident. And I think that we covered a lot for what goes bump in the night in Kentucky.
Exactly.
Do you have any thoughts or want to
No,
add to
for
this?
any of those that are interested though, Hopkinsville, Kentucky from Louisville, Kentucky is about 3 hours drive, or about 270 miles as the crow flies from Louisville.
So 270 miles, you have, because Fort Knox is in between all of this. So think about it. Louisville has a sanitarium and ghost hauntings. Fort Knox had a family of Bigfoots killed, and Hopkinsville aliens. So within 300 miles, you have ghost, Bigfoot, and aliens. I like that. So within 300 miles, you have a paranormal stretch going on here. That's amazing. What do you think about that? Within 300 miles, you can get ghost, Bigfoot, and an alien.
Kentucky's got everything.
Even bluegrass.
That's right. I think that's going to wrap it up for us today on Sheep Asleep, folks. Hope you enjoyed our podcast as much as we hope we enjoyed making it.
And also, we are also on YouTube.
Yep.
Under Sheep Asleep.
Find us on YouTube, Sheep Asleep.
Spotify,
Sheep Asleep.
And we're doing this all through Anchor.
Yep. So, thanks for joining us.